Hello, friends. Welcome inside, at least for me, Ben Garrett, the Riverland Roofing Studios here in New Albany, Mississippi. Riverland Roofing for all your roofing needs, 662-644-4297, riverlandroofing.com. That QR code above Brad Logan's head is for the Ole Miss Spirit, olemispirit.com, food of on 3. Scan it today. You get 50% off of your new subscriber, 50% off an annual sub. We'd love to have you at the Ole Miss Spirit. Thanks, of course, to Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford. Online at allensamuelsoxford.com. Call them, 662-234-8000. I, myself, have purchased vehicles with Brian and Mason and them at Allen Samuels. Great people, and they'll take care of you. So, Allen Samuels, we're thankful to them. Hey, Brad Logan, how are you, buddy?
Good morning. A special day today. It's Dr. Martin Luther King Day, someone that paved the way for a lot of people. And so it's a very special day that we can come to you today. Also a big day, too. The commits continue to roll in. I mean, the transfer portal is closed in regards to getting in, but obviously universities have 48 hours to release that. We just heard this morning Mekhi Frazier, as Pete started off the day from a very early Shark posting, and the commits continue to pour in. I think on 3 right now, Ben has Ole Miss is number 2 behind LSU. So the Rebels have done incredible work in the portal this year.
Yeah, they really have. I thought after they secured Dye yesterday from Southern Utah that they might call it a day as far as running backs in the room, because with him you had, of course, Keywan Lacey leading the room, but Shakai Mills-Knight, JT Lindsey from LSU, the 2 freshmen, one of which is a 4-star, Demarius Yates out of Mississippi that you signed, but this morning secured Mekhi Frazier too. Last year was pretty impressive as a sophomore, a true sophomore, I believe. I got the stats right here in front of me. Let me pull it back up. 5'10", 215, 116 carries, 520 yards, 2 touchdowns this season. He was the top available running back in the portal, according to On3. And it tells me that the days of like Pete Golding is going to prioritize this position specifically in terms of the physicality he wants from the offense, and doesn't want to be limited in his options, right? I think that shoulder injury for Keywan Lacey, they were just kind of stuck with it. Like if they could have given some carries to more effective runners. Logan Diggs got better as the year went on, but he was never quite himself after the ACL injury. Now you've given yourself with Dye, who was insanely productive at Southern Utah. I mean, this is a player that last year rushed for over 1,800 yards, was the offensive player of the year for his conference in FCS. But now you put Mekhi Frazier in it too. It secures the room for next year in the short term behind Keywan Lacey should anything happen like the bruised shoulder. But more than that, Brad, it's setting up nicely as far as the room for the future. They didn't have a lot of room. Like, they didn't really know what the room was for the future. Now you do. You continue to develop Shakai Mills-Knight, JT Lindsey from LSU, more of a change of pace, but even still, former 5-star upside play. Mekhi Frazier's got some real stripes on his resume. Obviously, Joshua Dye does as well, and it allows you to bring those 2 freshmen along very slowly. So big pickup. And, I'll be honest with you. I thought after Joshua Dye that this Mekhi Frazier, who visited this weekend, as did Dye, would be less likely, but here he is popping off for Ole Miss. And Pete Golding continues to do pretty incredible work, for his first time through the transfer portal. What do you kind of think about the haul so far?
Well, first of all, I want to talk about Mekhi Frazier, if that's how you say his first name. The leading rusher, kind of hitting on a little bit what you said a minute ago, the leading rusher for Michigan State, a program that didn't run the ball very effective, but he was really good. It's a former 4-star product out of McKinney, Texas high school. And what I like more than anything is he's just yet another quality depth piece for Ole Miss in the running back room. I mean, this is a running back room that has not had depth for the last couple of years, and they're absolutely going to be deep, very, very deep this year. I like Joshua Dye, too. I went back and watched a little bit of his cut-ups, and, from what he was able to do, he's out of Gilbert, Arizona, and he was I think someone on your board on the Ole Miss Spirit affiliate of On3. You can go there today at olemispirit.com. We'd love to have you.
That QR code. Right above Brad's head.
One thing someone pointed out, if I knew who it was, I'd tell them. But they said Joshua Dye was the BS or FCS equivalent of Keywan Lacey. And what he did this year was really good. So, and I like Lindsey out of LSU. I think he's going to be a great depth piece too. A little bit more developmental player, because you get an impact player like Frazier and Dye to combat Keywan Lacey, so you could have some depth pieces. So when you do get those big leads, you can pull Lacey a little bit earlier this year, protect him for the stretch run.
Any news on Luke Farrelly, the Cal linebacker? Sam Smith wants to know. He drove through the night over the weekend to get to Ole Miss. He's on campus. He's an Ole Miss Rebel. That's the last I heard. And
they're waiting on Clemson to release him to the portal. Is that fair enough?
They don't have to wait for him to Clemson to release him to the portal. Once you get into the portal, you don't have to get back in. He got onto the portal from Cal. Now the complicating things are obviously he was in class, enrolled in classes, and going through some team activities, and then up and drove to Ole Miss because he wanted to be an Ole Miss Rebel. It's not. None of it's great. None of it's pretty, but it's the culture. And Lane Kiffin overpaying to go get TJ Daugherty is in a way to. He really is more of a PR play for him. Same thing with Princewill Umanmielen, which we'll get to in a minute. But like the fact that if you'd have told me going into it that Lane was only going to be able to pull Winston Watkins, TJ Daugherty, Devin Harper, maybe Princewill Umanmielen, you take that every single time. You knew Winston Watkins was following. That man was recruiting kids. The minute Lane left for LSU, he was trying to recruit people to LSU. There is no love lost there. The coaches are not sad that he's gone. He wasn't a good locker room presence for him, apparently. But I wish Winnie nothing but the best of success at LSU. He's where he wants to be. I'm just saying that wasn't a surprise at all. Devin Harper, they re-signed on January 5th. His buyout was not nearly the same as Princewill Umanmielen. And last I heard, Princewill is $590, almost $600K that LSU or Princewill will owe Ole Miss if he does go to LSU, which I think is really the only threat for him. So when you really look at what Pete's done and what he was able to retain specifically on top of, if Lane has always been the portal king, and we've called him that for 6 years, well, what is Pete Golding then? Because on 3, they compile everything. I really don't even understand the full totality of the rankings. But when in turn, just pick your ranking service. If it's just going by the transfers added, usually you're seeing LSU number 1, Ole Miss number 2, as most would say that both teams did what they needed to do.
And I think if you can also break down one of those, I saw that if you break down, I think, star ranking, I think Ole Miss actually was number 1. I want to talk about Devin Harper a moment. He's been the topic of discussion, and everybody has been like, boy, Lane came in and just swooped him in. And, I don't know what happened there. But I do know this. Devin Harper always wanted to play for LSU. He did not get along, from what I understand, with Brian Kelly, did not want to be a part of Brian Kelly's LSU team. Obviously, now with Lane going to LSU, that was an obvious fit for Devin Harper. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to be a really good player for LSU. But to say that he, somehow was wooed away, I think that's a little premature. I mean, I think Devin Harper always wanted to be a Tiger. I do think if you look at what LSU's portal class is, it is really strong. I think the numbers are – I've seen numbers in upwards of $40 million, $30 to $40 million on that roster in Baton Rouge. So that's a lot. And so with that comes a lot of pressure to win games. But make no mistake, LSU has quite the haul this year. And just a handful of those include Ole Miss players. And I'm with you, Ben. I think Ole Miss can look back and think, wow, they did a really good job of not only recruiting the portal, but roster retention. And we knew going into the Sugar Bowl, going into the Fiesta Bowl, that Ole Miss was going to have to do a really good job of maintaining those players they've already signed. Not only that, but doing a really good job of getting out in front of that, making sure players like Kewan Lacey, William Eccles, Cam Franklin, making sure great kickers like Lucas Carnero is coming back. We saw Matt Baker enter the portal. So, and by the way, there are people saying that the Ole Miss kicker, obviously do a little bit of homework, guys. I mean, that's not the Ole Miss kicker. That was a backup kicker. So, and I think Lane reposted that. But yeah, I mean, I think if you look back and think it's great to see that Ole Miss is number 2 in the portal rankings, number 1 in some rankings when you talk about star rankings from the On3 service. But I think more than anything is the retention of this roster, the retention of how well and how good of a job Walker Jones and Keith Carter and Dr. Boyce and the entire fan base have come together along with Pete Golding and that coaching staff, Kelvin Bolden, Denson Hollis. And like I said, I've said that a lot. I mean, that's because everybody's kind of rowing the same direction. And that's not I mean, I want to say this real quick, Ben, before I throw it back to you. I had a conversation with a fan that's not an Ole Miss fan. He's a fan of another team in the conference. And I think we're kind of insulated with just Ole Miss and in large part Mississippi State, maybe LSU and whatnot, just in this region of the country, but mainly LSU right now because of the proximity and how close the programs are with sharing coaches and now coaches going one way or the other. But one of these fans says, it's probably going to fall apart for Ole Miss. The winningest coach in Ole Miss history is headed off to LSU, and now all of a sudden you've got a coach that was a DC, he's never been a coach before. I stepped back and looked at it from his point of view, and he made a lot of sense. From the outside looking in, you've got a sitting defensive coordinator that's never been a head coach. One of the winningest coaches in Ole Miss history leaves. One would think that the money would dry up and Ole Miss would just become little Ole Miss again. But what people don't understand is the decision process that went into hiring Pete Golding, why the staff is intact. The recruiting has been red hot since he's become the head coach. And, oh, by the way, he's 2-1 in the college football playoff. And now Ole Miss is now rocket ship into next season, because I truly believe, we'll talk about Trinidad Chambliss in just a little bit, but it does appear that Ole Miss feels fairly confident that Trinidad Chambliss will come back next year as its quarterback. You throw in the fact that the wide receiver room's getting better, the running back room is loaded. We'll talk about the offensive line and that sort of thing a little bit too. But Ole Miss is in a much better position, I think, than the outside believes, judging by the new On3 preseason poll that had Ole Miss number 15 in the country. I just can't wrap my mind around that. But I think if you look at it from other people's view, you can see why they would not have as much stock in this Ole Miss program as we do.
Yeah, Lil Sith Lord, got to have the deepest running back room in the nation, one of for sure, but Drew thinks the lightest line on both sides, stack the trenches. I disagree with that. The offensive line, they still have to add at least one, if not two more tackles. They got at least one or two more tackles, but the defensive line, outside of Princewill Umanmielen and the potential retention of him, which is a toss-up. I still think he ends up going to LSU if you made me guess, but I know that one person who I trust as much as anyone else when it comes to this stuff said he, quote, ain't going nowhere. So if you get him back, you're pairing him with new retentions in Renaud from Alabama and Blake Purchase from Oregon. Deshaun Womack, you didn't lose sleep that you lost him. You kind of expected that because you have to make some room too. And as we predicted at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com for the On3. Over there, that QR code, scan it above Brad's head. If you're a new member, you get 50% off an annual sub. But like Deshaun Womack, we predicted that he was going to follow Wayne Dorsey, his former high school coach at St. Mary's in Maryland. Wayne Dorsey, who is now the outside, you might know that name because that's former Ole Miss Rebel Wayne Dorsey, who is now the outside linebackers coach at Auburn, and Princewill is listed as a linebacker too. So no, they're not light on the defensive line. One, you're returning William Eccles, and I know some are going to ask, well, what about that Snapchat from William Eccles yesterday? He ain't going nowhere. William Eccles, like last Zach Berry at the Ole Miss Spirit said, he talked to somebody specifically on the team. Was like, oh yeah, he's just trolling. I don't know about that, but I do know that I'm not worried about William Eccles. I would be absolutely shocked if he went anywhere. So William Eccles is an All-American candidate like Walter Nolan was. You return beside him. You got Cam Franklin, who broke out in his second year. Jan Brown's coming back. They love Anthony Maddox. Michael Borio is going to push the start. Michael Borio from Florida. Jaheim Otis is at worst a monster depth piece for you. So on the defensive line, you've done what you needed to. On the offensive line, yes, you still got some work to do. Now, they had to get a tackle, and they got one. Here he is. It's Enoch Wagnoy. He's a transfer from Florida, massive, massive transfer from Florida. And I don't mean that as like, oh, he's a huge addition. I'm talking about he's a massive human being. He's like 6'7", 300-something pounds, more of a developmental tackle. Some might be asking, like the Florida, I saw it in the chat, the Florida tackle, is he a step in and start? Why has he not been playing that much to this point? Well, he just not like he's from over the pond, and he originally started, like he didn't start playing football until like a couple of years ago. So he's still very much a developmental piece. However, Ole Miss, he visited this weekend, ate at Grill House on Friday with John Garrison, Ole Miss offensive line coach. He will not be the only offensive tackle they signed. The in-house options are Therese Davis, who is finally healthy, and they always viewed him as a long-term potential starting option. Connor Howes, who they liked a lot as a freshman. Devin Harper was going to be their starting right tackle if you made me like kind of guess the candidates. So losing him absolutely hurts. Maybe Patrick Kudus kicks out to right tackle if you don't address it more adequately, more sufficiently. John Wayne Oliver is a candidate because he has positional versatility. But Enoch Wagnoy, Wangoy. I don't even know his last name. I can't pronounce it correctly. He's certainly fits into a room that needs him, though I think he's still a little bit of ways. And they're not done there either. So if you really take a red pen to this and how Pete and them have done, how would you kind of grade it out? Where have they really kicked butt? Where have they fallen short? Where do they need to continue to get things done? What's kind of your overall takeaway of all that?
Honestly, it's two positions we haven't talked about. That's defensive back and linebacker. I think Ole Miss has done really well at linebacker. When you look at Taj Butler, who I think is a tackling machine out of Georgia Tech, they've really padded the linebacker room. I wonder, Ben, if they're going to add any more pieces to that linebacker room. I know defensive back, what was a detriment early on last year, I think it's going to be very much a strength for this team as much as they've added in the secondary this year. Just excited to see mainly at linebacker. What are your thoughts at linebacker? I really like what they've added there.
I like what they've done. Losing TJ Daugherty, I mean, that's your leading tackler. It's a hit, but I think Ole Miss would be willing to take the swap if they have to of Luke Farrelly for TJ Daugherty all day, every day. Yeah. Now, the question was, after TJ left and after you lost Chris Jones, a commitment because Florida State paid him triple what you had him evaluated at, did you have enough? I still think they could add there, but with not only the Georgia Tech linebacker Taj Butler, I think's his name, but the Baylor linebacker is going to step in and be your green dot. He takes over for TJ Daugherty. You move Luke Farrelly into the piece as well. Keaton Thomas is the linebacker from Baylor. Keaton Thomas and Luke Farrelly together are a great linebacker pairing, and allow Santerre and Perkins to do some more pass rush, and he's going to still drop into coverage because he's an outside linebacker. He was never going to move back inside. They like Jacoby Hobson. I mean, if I'm grading linebacker, I'd give it a solid B plus. Luke Farrelly at least makes it a B plus to me because I think he's going to be an absolute monster for them. And it is like I thought TJ Daugherty was insanely effective for Ole Miss, but just like with most every player, you can pick out the things that are holding them back. he is not the most physically imposing guy. He can get pushed around in the running game. Luke Farrelly isn't overwhelmingly impressive physically either. But I think when in terms of run fits and his ability to get sideline to sideline and get upfield quickly, that will be a net gain for Ole Miss because TJ, man, he's not a big guy, so he would get pushed around pretty good out there, and that's something that Ole Miss had to deal with time and time again. So as far as the linebackers, I give it a solid B. Like the defensive backfield is where I'm most impressed, and because that's the spot that really got shortchanged last year, Brad.
Yeah,
I mean, after Ole Miss went 9-3 in 2024. Lane determined that that's never going to happen again, and it essentially just doubled spending on offense and left the defense with whatever they could come up with the remainder. The harsh truth was that 2024 was absolutely Lane's fault because of offensive shortcomings, but it wasn't because of talent. It was because of stuff that shouldn't have been affecting the product on the field, off the field, bleeding in. So that set Ole Miss back. And you look at, like, Sage Ryan just didn't work. Antonio Kite was an incredible find. Couldn't stay healthy toward the end of the year. Yeah. Chris Graves got better. Now he's at Missouri. I hope he has a great year. He spent 3 years at Ole Miss, and, man, he got better this year. But you really needed to completely overturn the room, and they've done that. If I would give any position group the highest grade as far as portal activity, it's the defensive secondary. Because you return both of – like, the retention part is in that as well. You're bringing back both of your starters from a 13-win team, the first 13-win team in Ole Miss history, and Antonio Kite and Jalen Braxton. But instead of having to go to a lesser option after one of those guys gets hurt, because Jalen Braxton's an injury guy too, now you can go to Sharif Denson. Jay Crawford's going to come in here, and he's going to start somewhere at cornerback. Maybe that means Jalen Braxton in his positional versatility at safety moves there a little bit more. Maybe Antonio Kite a little bit more. It just gives you more flexibility, more options. Because Ole Miss lost to Miami, yes, because they got pushed around and bullied up front, no doubt about it. But if you really dive into the tape, and Pete Golding will tell you too, it's the explosives. You can't have explosives when you're getting physically dominated too. One or the other, right? Make it hard. Don't make it easy for them. That was secondary issues falling apart specifically. So I think what they've done there, Edwin Joseph is going to start at safety. I think he's as good as Wyatt Williams was.
Janelle Aguero, the transfer.
Aguero, he's He'll step in and start for Kapina Gushkin, like where Kapina Gushkin, like that's what because he's not a coverage safety. He's more of a run fit safety. So yeah, I think the secondary would get my highest marks. Is that the same position for you, or is there another position that would get your highest marks if we're really taking a red pin to this stuff?
Yeah, I've always thought that defensive backfield, and I understand the trepidation at linebacker. I mean, with losing, you lose Todd Chambers, you lose Jaden Yates, you use T.J. Jottery. I get there are a lot of pieces leaving, but I think the pieces that are coming in, specifically for Raleigh, everything works out, which we do believe everything will there. I want to get your quick thoughts on the defensive. I want to go back to the defensive line just for a moment and ask you about. We talked about Blake Purchase and Jordan Renaud. Those are two pieces. Anybody else on that defensive front that you're kind of looking at that Ole Miss maybe leaning on? I know we talked about Maddox, but any other
Baby Maddox?
Yeah, any transfers that are coming in there? I know there was one more I was coming across. It may be
James McDonald from
yes,
Nevada.
Thank you very much. Out of Florida Atlantic. What were your thoughts on? I think it's Maldonado.
Yeah, Maldonado out of like I said, yes, Maldonado from Nevada, transfer edge. I did not even know his name till he committed. Yes. And man, when you dig into the film a little bit, when you dig into the tape, he could be something for them. I really like what they've done up front. Pete Golding is right, is course correcting in that way. He didn't get to spend what he thought he needed to for a defense that was replacing an historic Ole Miss defense from 2024. They still ended up being a top 30 defense, but they had their problems. I'm not blaming it completely on how they spent their money, but I am saying when you double up offense, I mean, did you need Harrison Wallace, Deshaun Stribling, Caden Lee, all the wide receivers Ole Miss had? Winnie Watkins, right? It seemed like, or Damian Taylor in the backfield with Logan Diggs and Kewan Lacey. The offensive line, splurging, you needed to get Patrick Kutas. You had to have Patrick Kutas. Can you imagine that offensive line without Patrick Kutas? Can you imagine that offensive line had Delano Townsend not come on? But, you know, there was way more spending on the offensive side than the defensive side, and now you're seeing a course correction for a defensive-minded head coach. But he hasn't allowed the offensive side to not to get disproportionately shortchanged. That's not what has happened here. The running back room was impressive, especially when you add Frazier on top of Dye behind Kewan Lacey, and you got Sky Mills Knight coming back, not to mention the fact that you signed two quality running backs in high school, including a kid in state, Damian Taylor, or not Damian Taylor, good grief, self-split, Demarius Yates, that was a 4-star and highly recruited in the olden days when that stuff really mattered. You'd be like, oh, yeah, that kid's going to come in and push to play right behind Kewan Lacey. It's a little different now. They want to put him on more of a developmental track. But I'm with Tony Hall. You could take another linebacker. Definitely need another offensive lineman or two. Got to get one or two. James McDonald's asking about Caden Lee, 50-50 or gone. Hey, look, man, all I've heard is that it's contingent on Trinidad Chambliss' waiver. If he gets his waiver, then he's or not as a waiver now, it'd be his injunction in state court, and that's been filed, that Caden will be back next year. I don't know for sure. I know that he ain't going to LSU if he goes anywhere. If he does continue his transfer process, I think it's Missouri or Georgia. That's what I think.
You know, it was interesting to me being that post on X did not feel like someone that was making a decision about coming back. But
yeah,
I mean,
like
it did. I want to say this real quick about the offensive line. You know, one thing that was pointed out to me, and I didn't really think about it, how many major injuries does the offensive line have?
That's what I've been talking about all year. In 2020,
that was such a huge component of winning as many games as Ole Miss did.
Yep. In 2012, like, yes, Bo Wallace was huge. I've talked about this before, but and like you could go through, you know, how many guys had to step and be. But like to me, the most important piece of that team that allowed it to make it to the Birmingham Bowl, when we looked out there and go, how is this team going to win 4 games? Yeah. That offensive line, same starting 5 the whole year. And that's just unprecedented. Hugh Freeze will talk to you about it now to this day. Like, that's just unprecedented. To get that this year of your first 13-win season and you play 15 games, critical. Carius Kern's going to start somewhere. You evaluated him more as an interior offensive lineman. He might have to be your right tackle. You still need a couple of more additions to the tackle room to feel like you're covered enough. They love Connor Howells and what he could potentially be. Bryson Sanders, his surgery. Somebody asked about his surgery. His surgery's going well. It's a cleanup surgery. He told me straight up he'll be fine. He ain't going to play in the spring, but who cares? It's the spring. Have we heard anything on the ULM guy? That's Q McBroom. He visited over the weekend, left without committing, and he's going on a visit to Cal. But, like, he would be a good addition, but he still doesn't solve your tackle issue. He's more of an interior offensive lineman. Maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe the NFL forecasts Patrick Kudus' next level spot being at right tackle. I don't know. I don't know how they're evaluating it that way. The bottom line is you need more in the room. And Q McBroom would be a big part of that, but he left his visit this weekend without committing. So, like, obviously, to me, offensive line is still not what it needs to be.
Hey, Ben, real quick before we go any further, the biggest hit in the portal for Ole Miss, is it Devin Harper to you?
The biggest hit in the portal for Ole Miss. It has to be just because of what he fit. Like, Devin Harper didn't play a snap last. Yeah.
And it's hard to say that. You're right, he didn't. But, I mean, it's just what everybody anticipated him being. Yeah.
He was your projected starting right tackle, and now he's not here. So, if there's one you could have – like, Princewill, you want to hold on to Princewill first and foremost. And they might – I mean, they're trying to hold him to the contract. You're going to still see names hit the portal because the window is closed on Friday. But, like, now there's the 48-hour window, business hours, and this is a holiday day. This is MLK Day. So, like, 48 business hours to process these guys that got into the last minute, and that'll take you all the way into Wednesday. So there's still a possibility that you can see some names. I'm not anticipating anyone like that, but, like, the Princewill that'll come. The Princewill situation will have to come to a head over the next handful of days, I think. And obviously he would be the number one for me just because that's your sack leader. But as far as projected, he's not yet transferred yet. They're still actively negotiating. They being Ole Miss are still negotiating with him. So as long as that's going on, there's still a possibility. And he's been receptive, but at best it's 50-50. He's not one of those that is transferred, quote, truly transferred out yet to me. So if the ones that they've truly lost, yeah, Devin Harper. That's the one because of what he was supposed to be for next year as your starting right tackle. And you re-upped him, you re-signed him. And you thought you had that taken care of. And then LSU paid him to get into the portal and then paid him to show up and willing to pay the buyout.
Let's talk about a position that Ole Miss has proven to have a lot of success, NFL success, as we talk about a couple of tight ends that are in the league now with Evan Ingram still playing. And then Dawson Knox still playing for the Bills. Michael Smith, the transfer from South Carolina, is headed here, along with Brady Prescorn. Of course, that's a familiar name for Ole Miss. No. The Prescorn last name. How's the tight end room setting up for you, Ben? Right now, it looks like depth-wise they're in good shape.
Yeah, Luke Haas has to be healthy. Caught his first touchdown in the Sugar Bowl. If he's healthy, yeah, that'll be a good room. Brady Prescorn, in my opinion, is a lot like is more upside than Trace Bruckler, but like right now is the same kind of developmental phase. Can really help you though with his strengths and be a real valuable piece for you. Has breakout potential too. I really like the tight end that they got out of South Carolina and Michael Smith, I think is his name. Yeah. Yes, he doesn't have a lot of stats on his resume, but man, physically he's there. He's got true upside, and you factor him into the room as someone that you don't have to rely on immediately, but can carve out a role so long as Luke Haas is healthy. I love that addition. I think it's just smart. It's smart ads is what I've been most impressed with Pete Golding. It's smart ads. It's not just, yes, Ole Miss would kill for Jordan Seaton to start at left tackle, but you can either pay $3 million, $4 million for Jordan Seaton to be your left tackle. Maybe that's worth it. Or you can get another tight end that you need for the room, 2 or 3 more offensive linemen. There's so much you could potentially spread it out with because you still have needs. And then at the end of it, if you still have the money and you want to go after a Jordan Seaton, by all means, right? But right now, I think tight end and what Pete's done across the board is a good example of covering all bases and using your money smartly, wisely, and not going overboard. Yes, I know Seaton isn't even the picture. I said that. I've been saying that. I know that. I knew that from the get-go. He took his Oregon visit, now on the LSU visit. Yep, and I think he's going to end up at LSU. My point is that everyone's been saying to me, well, Ben, what about Jordan Seaton? I've said I don't think they're in on it, mainly because of price point. But, but not just being the team that chases not being the team that chases, being the one that pays them everyone the highest and most money. Rather than be that, Ole Miss is doing what it believes it does better than anyone and trusting its own evaluations and and scouting and development, and they've, in my opinion, been very successful. I don't know if I'd give them like a A. Like, I'm not going to give them an A, but I mean, I think you're creeping. You're in the A- territory, like in the 93, 94 territory for me right now, based on what you needed to get done, all the exterior factors in which you've actually gotten done.
Ben, let's look at the offensive line right now. Preliminary, the starting five. We know that we'll have Bryson Sanders at centers, Patrick Kudus at right guard. What's the rest of that line look like right now? Karius Kern possibly at right tackle. What are you thinking?
Right now, I'd say Therese Davis at left tackle.
Yeah.
Delano Townsend at left guard, Bryson Sanders at center, Patrick Kudus at right guard, and Karius Kern at right tackle. But they would prefer to not have Karius Kern at right tackle. So I might flip Karius Kern and Patrick Kudus. A lot of the in the chat right now, they're playing some buy or sell without us. Should we play some buy or sell with them? Yes, we should. Buy or sell. Princewill stays at Ole Miss.
I'm selling. I think he's going to LSU.
All right, I will buy it hesitantly. Buy or sell. Ole Miss will be better at linebacker than last season.
Much better. I'm buying that.
I'm buying that too. Ben, does Lane still text you? Yes, he was texting me all day Friday. Where's another buy or sell? Buy or sell. Winnie Watkins will be a star at LSU.
I don't know that he'll be a star. That's a very crowded room that Winnie Watkins is going to be in Baton Rouge. I think Winnie Watkins is a really good football player. Maybe he'll play with a little more enthusiasm, and that's not to say that he didn't at Ole Miss, but I just very much remember turning around the press box and looking to you and Chuck and saying he looks disengaged during the Egg Bowl. And obviously we would know now why. It was because he had one foot out the door.
I'll buy it, but you didn't specify what type of star. I think he's going to be a productive wide receiver. I think he's going to be a YouTube, TikTok star, sure. As long as he keeps bringing women on his streams to make that money rain, sure. He can make a star. He can get viral every once in a while. But that is a crowded room. Thanks for not my – oh, gosh. Any true freshman that can play right away? Who are the true freshmen that I would go with right now?
I don't know. I mean, I think.
Well, because true freshmen don't play a lot. They just don't anymore.
They don't.
This is the different culture now. I'm looking at the official right above Brad is the QR code for the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, 313. I'm going through. I'll tell you one right now. Landon Barnes, the edge from Duncanville. That kid's going to play. He's going to play. I think he's going to be a next level edge. He's going to play.
I mean, I feel like Devin Harper would play. Well,
he did play some special teams. He played within his 4 games of the medical thing, but he never got any reps that really mattered. Yeah, that's the one. Anthony Davis maybe at linebacker, but Jacoby Hobson didn't this year, and if Jacoby didn't, they're kind of a very similar player. So yes, that's where I'm going. Landon Barnes. I think Landon Barnes is going to be a stud, an absolute stud. That's what I think. So I think I've hit everything else in the chat. How would you grade it overall? Where are they falling short though? Like, where do you think? Offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, they need a couple more pieces on the offensive line. I absolutely agree with that. I think they've done great in the receiver room. I think they've done really good in the tight end room, the quarterback room. I mean, everybody's waiting on the injunction from Trinidad Chambliss. I mean, that's just kind of where everything is. And I mean, Ben, has your outlook changed any over the last 24 to 48 hours?
I look at the next year's schedule. I still picking them as long as Trinidad Chambliss is their quarterback. I see 9-3, 10-2. I think if anything, it's strengthened that. I mean, the offensive line is a legitimate concern. Is Ole Miss going to get any more wide receivers, or their main focus retaining Caden Lee? They got Jonte Cook from Syracuse, Darryl Gill from Syracuse, both of which are going to step in here and play. And with those 2 late additions, I think right now the main focus is going to be on Caden Lee. Why are you texting with the enemy? He texts me and I respond. Yeah. Does Pete text you? Barnes 100%. Yes, Landon Barnes. I'll get this. Cunningham and Alfred. Yeah, those Caleb Cunningham is a big, big piece of the wide receiver room. Just because he didn't play this year, it's because he got here late. I think Caleb Cunningham is going to be an absolute.
Yeah, I want to ask too. Thank you, Daniel, for bringing this up. Dylan Alford or Alfred,
Emmanuel Faulkner. Hey, I'm in New Albany, and I know Emmanuel Faulkner better than most anybody. He's not ready. He's not ready yet. Just not.
I want to talk about Dylan Alford for a minute. I've been watching a lot of tape. Mike Espy's been posting a lot, and I've seen him play. Is he a slot guy? And he is someone that can kind of sit down, get the first down, take the hit. Is he a Caden Lee clone? Ben, or is he Dylan Alford, or is he more of a burner?
Alfred, he's a lot like Caden. He's a lot like Caden. A little bit like
he looked like.
he's
from my untrained eye, he looked a lot like Caden Lee running routes.
Dude, he's 100% a route merchant. 100%. Like he can really run routes. And
we didn't mention Caleb Oden. I know somebody
guy on the left.
Me.
Get my name's right there, bro. It's Ben. Guy on the left looks like Jock. It's funny. I'm not touching it today. I'm trying to leave it alone. You know what I mean? I'm trying to let the hair just leave. I'm not trying to touch it, mess with it too much, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think Dylan Alford's a great route runner, and he's absolutely going to factor in too. Like the only place, in my opinion, where you're really still lacking is the offensive line. You would love to get another linebacker.
I was about to say I'm not ready to do that about linebackers just yet. Another solid, tackle, just a tackle machine, another Andrew Jones, if you will. And if Andrew Jones were coming back, I would be absolutely 100% checking off the linebacker room. But I'm not there yet, because I think there needs to be one more linebacker to add.
Well, and Luke Farrelly,
I'm counting on him.
Yeah, he drove through the night over the weekend. He is an Ole Miss Rebel. He is on campus, and that's a big, big piece. So is Keaton Thomas, and I know they're very high on Jacoby Hobson. Centarian Perkins.
I would love Hobson to step forward. Out of Lake Cormorant High School in Mississippi, a Mississippi high school product, was just a tackle machine for Coach Nestor up at Lake Cormorant. So I would love to see him take a step forward.
Hey Ben, does Lane Kiffin remember your name now, since he likes to text you? He's always known my name. That's the funniest part. Is that's one of his go-to. That's why I call him Regina George in many ways. Call him Regina George of SC college football head coaches. Like, he does that in coaches meetings. Like, if somebody speaks up or misses on something, he's like, "No, I don't even know your name." It's that petty nonsense, and I just think it's hilarious. Like, I don't care. Everyone's asking, "Hey, Ben and Brad, do you think Lee comes back, or is he gone for good?" Where do you think right now on January 19th, 10:37 a.m., MLK Day?
I think he comes back, because I think Trinidad Chambliss is given whatever, not the waiver or he's going to be the quarterback injunction. Yes. So I do believe, if what we're being told is that Caden Lee is waiting to see if Trinidad Chambliss is the quarterback. But I will put a caveat in here, and I truly believe this. The post on X did not intimate that he's waiting on anything. It looked like that he was entering the portal. I'm just telling you from what I read. But that's not what everybody is telling me. Everybody's telling me that he's waiting to see what the future looks like at quarterback. So if I'm taking everybody's word for it, I think he comes back.
Like, that's where I'm at. Like, from a negotiation standpoint, it's been the same the whole way through. He's been consistent with that specifically. Now, that could just be like, he doesn't want to be considered. Like, Caden Lee spent 3 years here. He's a good dude. He gives us crap. He really cares, man. And I think Trinidad gets his injunction and he comes back, just based on what people have been telling me. But, like, he hadn't responded to text I sent him. And that's, you know what I mean? Like, in that, I'm with you. That seemed like more of a goodbye message than it was like, I'm hedging bets here. But I at the end of the day, you have to go on what the people you trust on a day-to-day basis, because in 3 years I'll still be here, God willing, and Caden won't be in the NFL doing his thing. And I would go with that. I would say that, yes, if Trinidad gets his injunction, he will be an Ole Miss wide receiver again next year, one of his leading options. Having said that, I've been consistent for weeks. Georgia's been after him hard. And going home to play his final year at Georgia is appealing to him, I've heard. He's not going to LSU. He's not going to follow Lane to LSU. He's not one of Lane's guys. Lane has his guys. Caden didn't want them. If it's not Georgia, I think it's Missouri with Austin Simmons, his best friend on the team. And whatever he decides to do, I think Ole Miss, with getting Jonte Cook, has covered itself for any potential, eventuality, specifically with Caden Lee. And Caleb Odom, who is a tight end, will be playing more of a big wide receiver in that slot next year than he even did this year, right? He's going to be that hybrid player. He's going to be a hybrid player in that way. You trust that you're going to get productivity from Caleb Cunningham, Dylan Alford, Samari Reed, on top of bringing in Gill and Cook and a host of other players that you can believe can be tremendously successful in that room. Obviously, you want Caden Lee to be a part of it. I think he comes back with an injunction, but there's still very much a chance because George has been working on him for a while,
There's a timetable involved in this too. I mean, because there's getting to the school for the spring semester. There's a lot of things at play with the time of this. And like I said, the post on X did not give me the warm and fuzzies about him coming back. I'll be honest. And it feels like his relationship with Austin Simmons, that feels like a natural progression to go to Missouri. Someone posted a minute ago about, wide receivers are a dime a dozen. I get that. But Caden Lee, although he didn't have the greatest year this year versus years past, he's a solid automatic wide receiver. And it would be it'd be a blow if he leaves. I think he's really good. I'm really excited to see what that injunction or whatever the word is comes out, and we know what the answer is to Trinidad Chambliss. I want to stay at quarterback, Ben, real quick. There's been some questions about Deuce Knight, and I want to say this real quick, too. 2 years ago, you said on Talk of Champions, because I heard it. I can't remember who the guest was, but you were on with somebody. And you said, I'm not worried about Deuce Knight in Auburn. He'll be an Ole Miss Rebel soon. And I thought, yeah, I don't know about all that. Well, here we are. Deuce Knight is an Ole Miss Rebel. I'd love to talk a little bit more about that running back room, your thoughts on Deuce Knight, his availability, and how much of a factor he's going to be this year. Even with Trinidad coming back, I do think there'll be packages available because he's such an athlete. What do you think about that quarterback room, A.J. Maddox, Deuce Knight, and then hopefully for Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss?
I think Trinidad Chambliss is going to dominate snaps as he should as the starting quarterback and a Heisman front runner, and then Deuce Knight's going to be their quarterback for the next 2 years, ideally after that. But he is much needed, had to have it, and break glass in case of an emergency, needs to be your starter. He's got upside that you otherwise didn't have once Austin went to Missouri. John David Baker and a lot of those coaches in the room, they loved Austin. They wanted him to stay, but Austin needed a fresh start. Everybody understands that. Ain't nobody knocking that. But Deuce ain't playing this year if Trinidad Chambliss gets his injunction. If he doesn't get his injunction, then he's the leading candidate to start for you. It's the Trinidad Chambliss. I agree here. It's the Trinidad show. It has to be. And what?
Yeah, when you get a chance, I want to hit that Juvon Campbell question.
I don't even
That's
see
a great
it.
question.
Pull it up. Where's it at?
I can't show it on my end.
All right. Do the players not care about their legacies anymore? Hell no.
I'd love to hear your thoughts about that.
No.
I think it's a great question.
No, they don't.
Why?
Well, it's not all of them. It's not all of them. It's not. Because this is about money. This is about maximizing your earning potential. For most of these kids, the vast majority of them, this will far and away be their the pinnacle of their value, potentially ever professionally, right now. So they're maximizing their earning window while it's here. It's not personal, it's business. But there are many that still have that old way of wanting to be a part, or wanting to have that legacy. Like it meant something to Tyler Banks to be the Chucky Mullins Award winner. It used to mean something to everybody. It meant something to him. Caden Lee cares about this place, but also, it was a hard year for him. Bryson Sanders has been here for 4 years now. Waited his turn. Yes, he's being paid and compensated more than fairly for his work. But it was hard for him to sit and wait because for them, the time is short. Time is of the essence. If anything, not just coaches, players too, you have 2.5 years to put up or shut up before people start asking questions or trying to get something over on you. So there are some that love the place that they're signed with and committed to. Bryson Sanders is a good example of that. Love this place, gave a crap when all the stuff went down at the end of the year. But most considerations come down to maximizing their earning potential in the only potential window that they'll have their entire lives. For this much money, millions of dollars. Like Kejuan Lacey stayed because he's getting paid handsomely. He loves Ole Miss, yes, and he's got a legacy, and that's important, but it's secondary. Had somebody else paid him the money Ole Miss would have paid him, it'd have been, or paid more than Ole Miss paid him, he probably would have been somewhere else, because it's about making all the money you can potentially make right now. And it's unfortunate.
Just when we're in the press box and they announce these former players and they come back and do the hotty toddy and they come back and say thank you for everything you did for me. I mean, you can't put a dollar amount on that. I mean, you can't tell me they don't enjoy doing that.
Oh, yes, you can, because are you leaving here with money in your pocket for coming out and waving to the fans? What are you getting out of it?
Yeah.
What do you like? That's the funny thing, man. Like, I don't understand why Ole Miss wouldn't just say to the NCAA, "Well, screw it. We don't care that you say you can't play. He's going to play anyway. We disagree with you. Take us to court." Because, like, what's the worst you can do? Rule him ineligible, and Trinidad Chambliss doesn't show up in your record books. How many of y'all are going around checking the NCAA's record books on a Monday? Like, who was like how many yards that whoever threw for in 2013? It matters about right here and now, right? In a world of no rules. So, like, Trinidad, let him play. Of course, I'd stick him on the field anyway. Say screw it. Like, Trinidad's building a legacy, but he's really wanting to come back. Not like, yes, he wants to be at Ole Miss, and he made that decision, and he's a good kid. And like I talked about something, like, he's a genuine kid. You know, he talks about his love for God, and specifically talks about his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. There's so many things to admire about him, and not taking away any of that. But you know what his number one consideration is? Like, you and I would fight like hell for it too. Now he'll make over $5 million with Ole Miss next year.
He'll make more money being the Ole Miss quarterback than the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
Yes. Tyler Shuck, as a rookie starter for the Saints this year, made $2.3 million. He would be foolish not to try to fight like heck for that. Like, for $2.5 million more. So this is a big business, and business is booming. There are still some players and some real connective tissue like that. But, like, you, Ole Miss fan, are now Ole Miss. The community, right? All those that showed up in Phoenix. Because it isn't about our guys versus their guys anymore. It's about Ole Miss. Ole Miss isn't just the product on the field. It's everybody. And it's different in that way.
So real quick, Javon Campbell asked again. So Caden Lee would be remembered as a former Missouri or Georgia player and not Ole Miss. That not for me. If in 10 years Caden Lee comes back and they're honoring the Fiesta Bowl team, or, you know, say for instance he goes to Missouri and has a big year, goes to the NFL, whatever, I think he would absolutely be welcome back. Caden Lee would.
Yes. So he's a former Ole Miss Rebel. Like, okay, so he says on, like, if he plays his last year at Missouri, he'll say on Sunday Night Football, Caden Lee, Missouri Tigers, or he'll say Caden Lee, whatever Missouri's tagline is. Ole Miss is hotty toddy. He'll say Caden Lee, go Mizzou, hotty toddy. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Legacy is, we love to talk about legacy as if it's something that has to be built over a linear amount of time. Legacy is, at the end of it, people going, all right, what did you do? What did you really do? No one's going to begrudge Caden Lee if he goes play somewhere else.
No.
All right. Caden Lee loves this place. He will always be an Ole Miss Rebel. But the idea that, like, and at the end of the day, you can't be one of those that go, well, TJ Daughter, screw him then. You know, that was your team tackle leader, and then go, because Luke Farrelly's better. Or Luke, and like you did to Clemson, what LSU essentially did to you, the Princewill Umanmielen. The difference was Princewill signed a rev share agreement, right? Luke didn't. He got into the port, and like he doesn't know anybody anything. So it's a long roundabout way of saying there's no loyalty from fans either for players these days. You know? So that's what's separated Ole Miss in a lot of ways, is because there's still some of that connection that otherwise has been destroyed in this sport over the course of this. I disagree. If you leave, you ruin your legacy. I think I don't treat it monolithically. I look at it like case by case. Like, can you honestly say if Caden leaves and plays his final game at Georgia or Missouri that he should be considered in the same light as Winnie Watkins when he comes back? That's insane to me. Is the other team's offering? The money's about the same. Money's about the same. I really believe, like, I have to trust what the people that I talk to on a daily basis about this stuff. And I put up a story on it, the Ole Miss Spirit, that QR code over there above Brad's head. Scan it, 50% off for new members. We'd love to have you at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate 103. It's just I don't see that. I just don't. It's a different world now. And just because they leave doesn't make them suddenly like public enemy number one. It's okay to say Winnie Watkins he wasn't a fit anymore. Did Hurts ruin his legacy by going to Bama? Yes. By leaving Bama and going, no, he didn't. I hope like Austin Simmons. Yeah, of course, Jacob. We are all allowed to disagree. It's totally
absolutely. That's what makes it fun, man. Thanks to all of you for chiming in because this makes it easy. I mean, we love getting people. Ben and I will disagree, and that's what makes this great. So yeah.
Do we get online guys after graduation in June? They will leave out all possible. They will leave open all possible options. Percentage odds of Princewill sticking around. 50-50. I caught crap online from Ohio State fans and Ole Miss fans not long ago because I said Quinshon Judkins was one of my favorite Ole Miss Rebels of all time, which is understandable.
Man. And he did a lot of great things.
As a true freshman, set a single season record. Of course, you can hate how he left, but also say, dude, I loved watching Quinshon Judkins at Ole Miss Rebel. It's just like if you grew up rooting on Peyton with the Colts and he won a Super Bowl with the Broncos, it's not like he's just a Bronco forever. You know what I mean? Like it's just This is how business works now. Ben, did I see that the Ole Miss Spirit is 50% off? Did you post that this weekend? Oh, Destin. It's been 50% off since the college football playoff run for the annual sub. Just go over there and scan it. We'd love to have y'all, man. All day, every day. This is what we do. You don't just have to hang out with us for an hour. We do this all day, every day at the Ole Miss Spirit. All right, I wanted to touch on something because On3 released this morning. Way too early. College football top 25. Your Ole Miss Rebels 15. All right, Brad.
I've already caught it. But look, here's what I said, and I posted online. You got a bulk of the roster coming back.
Yep.
You're number 2 in the transfer portal.
Yep.
You are essentially have a head coach that's 2-1 in the college football playoff. You've got Joe Judge, who I think is one of the best assistant coaches in college football.
Yeah.
And then you've got the defensive coordinator is your head coach, and you've stacked the defense to be much better than it was last year. And you're going to put them behind BYU. This smells of Brett McMurphy and all of the national On3 people saying, you know what, Ole Miss? Great season. You know what? Good job. You made it to the Sugar Bowl. You beat Georgia. You got kind of lucky. Then you got lucky and got the Fiesta Bowl. Then you met up with a Miami team that was better than you, and then you lost. And then you got to go home where you belong. You beat Tulane. You got lucky. You got them at home. Now it's time to go back to just mediocre Ole Miss. So go back to where you belong. We're going to put you at number 15 because we have to. We're going to put the big boys like Michigan, who has no business in this poll. We're going to put Notre Dame at number 4 for no reason other than the logo. Let's go ahead and throw in Texas Tech because they spent $1 bazillion. We don't have no idea if they're – oh, yeah, you beat Oklahoma. I don't think Oklahoma's ever beat you, but let's go ahead and put them at number 10, that far ahead of you. And, oh, by the way, Indiana, you may win the national championship. We're going to put 4 teams ahead of you. I don't even want to – it just irritated me beyond measure because no matter what Ole Miss does, it feels like the collective world of college football is going to say, yeah, it's a little Ole Miss. They can't do it.
Tony Hall might be right. Without Trinidad, that is more than fair. Now, I don't have to agree with who you ranked above them, but without Trinidad, with Trinidad, it's absurd. Penn State has no business.
Comments about that, so
yeah. Penn State has no business being 14 or above Ole Miss. BYU, LSU with Sam Leavitt and his 89 yards passing against Mississippi State, but somehow a savior under Lane Kiffin. Michigan, I get why they put Michigan up there. Bryce Underwood's exciting. You think maybe he takes a big step. Oklahoma, Ole Miss beat Oklahoma, beat LSU. Texas A&M gets to be 8, even though they had the most embarrassing performance of any SEC team in the college football playoff. Yes, they returned Marcel Reed, but if Ole Miss is returning Trinidad Chambliss, I would think that at the very least they would be where Texas A&M is. The fact that Miami is number 9 is comical. It's comical. Miami with Darren Mensah are going to be right there again.
Yeah.
So Oregon is Dante Moore's returning. Indiana, because you give Indiana its due. Notre Dame at 4. Here we go again. Here we go. With Trinidad, this team is no worse than 8th in the country. Otherwise, this is just absolute bogus nonsense. Makes absolutely no. You say
top
fifth?
5 for me. Yeah, top 5 for me.
Yeah, but this is just ridiculous. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous.
And
I really
look,
didn't get
Texas
into
is going
it.
to be good. I mean, we saw Texas lose with Arch at quarterback. I mean, what is it going to be different this year?
Like,
Number 3?
No, I think Arch got better toward the end of the year, man. I think
He
Texas
did.
He did.
He got a lot better.
I think they're going to be great. Like Texas Arch with Cam Coleman is going to be so much fun. Indiana, has every reason to think 5? Seriously? Especially if they're the reigning defending national champion. This is just – I've said this before, and I mean it, and I'm going to say it till my dying days, man. This is all just for keeping the conversation going.
It is.
Rankings, no rankings should be released until after week 4 of the college football season. No rankings.
But, my favorite may be Florida at 24. That may be my favorite.
Alabama at 17. I don't understand.
What is Michigan going to be number 11?
Kyle Whittingham, I guess, is like a 3-4 game swing. I don't understand that at all. Yeah, this is nonsense. Washington at 18, according to what? Yeah, he's right. Like Washington at 18. What are they doing?
They're making us talk about it. It's what they're doing.
They did. I would love to revisit. I would love to revisit the rankings from last year because I would love to see how many picked Garrett and Nussmeier to win the to win the Heisman and for LSU to win the national championship. Right? I would love to see that. Of course, Ohio State's going to be up there. That's Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith, and Ohio State's going to be good. But
I'm very surprised that LSU's ranked 12th, honestly, Ben. As well as they've done in the portal and as much hype as Lane has gotten going to Baton Rouge, that seems low for me. Looking at the 0-3 model of how they're doing this.
See, that seems pretty high for me. I would have at least switched Ole Miss and LSU, unless again this is just because Trinidad hasn't gotten his injunction.
Very well could be. So I'll peel back a little bit on my criticism if they're talking about Trinidad not being there. You know who's not on that list? I want to talk about this for a second. Did you notice the team that's not on there?
Who's that?
Clemson.
Oh yeah.
Dabo Swinney. Is this the year that Dabo gets cut? Is this the year that he brings his buddy Chad Morris in, who's yet to win a conference game in a couple of years at Arkansas, to run the offense? And he fired his offensive coordinator, and that's it. I wonder what happens with Clemson. Not in the top 25.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Good catch. All right, Ben and Brad, picks and score for tonight's championship game, Indiana and Miami.
Yep.
Give me yours.
31-21, Indiana.
Yeah, I think Indiana's getting there.
It's their year, man.
It's their year.
Although Miami, as we all saw a couple of weeks ago in Phoenix, they have got some playmakers, and their quarterback, Carson Beck, figures out a way when it was crunch time, and he's going to be a problem. Baby Jesus is going to be a problem. That defense and those two defensive ends are going to be a problem for Indiana. But I really like Indiana kind of pulling away in the fourth quarter.
Ole Miss -WB3DF, 27-23, Indiana over Miami. I was going to say 28-24. That's not even a joke. So, yeah. I was impressed with Miami, man. I really was. How they physically dominated Ole Miss. And I really want to just go, you know what? Because if you're an Ole Miss fan, would you not want the team that puts you out to go ahead and win the whole thing? That's just old hat. That's what you typically want to happen. So in that way, it'd be cool to see that you win. But also, Indiana football in the year of our Lord 2026 is one win away from his first national championship as an also-ran. Never had been. Yes. I think Indiana, it's their time.
I think what I thought with Ole Miss and Miami, I thought Miami Coach Cristobal came out and out-schemed Ole Miss in the first quarter and midway through the second quarter. And it felt like
negative 1 yard offensively in the first quarter, and you're a fast starting team. Yeah, he kicked your butt.
And what I really liked is Ole Miss defensively came out. Sudu, welcome to the chat, brother.
Sudu's in here.
What I really liked about what Ole Miss did in the second half against Miami is they gamed really well Cristobal, and they made some defensive changes. And Ben has fallen off the screen. I think he may have fallen out of the chair. There he is.
Oh, he got in here. Like, this dude is he trolls me, man. I said we could do one of these. Like, let's wait till Tuesday, and we'll do a show on Tuesday. So we're to respond to the championship. Now he's acting like we left him out, man. That friggin' Sudo, here he comes. He's such a drama queen. See, when you get in the comment section, you allow me to just to poke fun of you. So, hey,
somebody asked what our snack was, Ben.
Oh, all right. What
our game time snack?
Any games?
This is a really important question.
Oh, here we go. Brad, Ben, what is y'all's go-to game night snack setup?
What do you have?
Well, I'll be watching it pretty much by myself. My wife and girls don't care at all about this.
Same here.
No, yeah, I have no watch party. Now, the old days, it was mostly just beer. You got to do some form of nacho. I like ultimate nachos when I watch football. Like, give me like a big old thing of chicken nachos with like jalapenos and cheese and all that kind of stuff on. You need some variation of nachos. Sausage balls are a must. Cocktail weenies are just easy. What sweet do you have to have? Fanny's something or other that is like this s'more candy that you can get at Sam's. Bro, it's fire. It's fire. Fannie Mae's something or other s'mores. Put that thing. Buffalo chicken dip is a good call. Good call.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to tell everybody, give everybody a little bit of a secret. So gourmet nacho. It's in a can. But what you do is you pour it out.
Joseph gets it. Football nachos, bro. Football nachos.
Microwave it. You cut up some bacon and put in there with it. But really, it's just nachos with chips.
What about corn dog? That's just against LSU, right? Right.
Yeah, that's just LSU thing. Salty cheese ball. Somebody said that's good. But yeah, I love that cheese with nachos, and also baked potato dip. It's all the toppings without the potatoes.
Like essentially really bad heartburn is on the menu. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So
it needs to burn when you're taking a dump later.
You'll love it.
Yeah, if you're not taking it, if it's not burning when you're dumping later, then buddy, it's not. You didn't eat right like you're supposed to on game day.
Yeah, always mix a little bit of chili in there just to keep you honest. A little bit of hot sauce, and like also my drink of choice is always a Diet Mountain Dew. Always.
That Diet Mountain Dew used to be my spot. I'm trying to do mini corn dogs are absolutely fire, Jay.
I'm all in for a mini corn dog
all day.
Don't do that.
Okay, king cake. I like that. Brad's on point with the nachos. I brought up the nachos first.
But that canned cheese is where it's at.
Sudu said this segment is brought to you by Prilosec OTC. Oh. Well, I made a vow because, like I said, in 2020, I'm going to be better. So tonight is the last night I'm eating crappy for 2026. I'm going to try.
Then we're going to
I'm not going to.
I've been good since Glendale. I've been really good since Glendale, by the way. I have been eating very, very good. I like that air fryer lemon pepper wings, by the way.
Ooh, yeah. Lemon pepper. Dude, we had Buffalo Wild Wings. Me and Gracie sprained her ankle the other day before soccer. And so she didn't get to play, but we traveled to New Hope anyway, thinking she was going to play. And they won, but all of us, a group of us, some of her and her friends, and a few, like my buddy Moody, our families, we all went to eat. Well, Tupelo was already like packed at 5 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. I was like, let's go to Chili's. End up going to Buffalo Wild Wings. Haven't had that in a minute, man. But when I tell you wings and football, I just don't know what goes better. And when you haven't had it in a while and you get you some of them lemon pepper wings or some of them honey barbecue wings, and make sure they bone in. If you're not eating bone in, if you're eating the boneless wings, you're eating chicken tenders. All right. But yes, if you're going to really go football tonight, buddy, have you a bunch of friends in fellowship, give thanks to God, and eat some wings, drink some beer, put some nachos with it. That's
so. Yeah. Real quick, I have been getting tons of texts. What type of tortilla chips? They're very specific. Now, your local, I don't know if your local Walmart or Dollar General or wherever you patronize your grocer, but they're tortilla chips and they're by Frito-Lay, but they're kind of hard to find.
It's the Scoops.
That's what I like. Not a lot of people know about these. There's two brands. There's two kinds. There's this one. Then there's one that has a little bit of a flavor, a little bit of a season to it. That's the ones I like. They're fantastic.
Wingstop is you can never do wrong with Wingstop.
No.
But just make sure when you eat the bone-in wing that you eat a little bit of celery. Just feel like you're not like eating just complete crap. But like celery is the worst thing ever created. Like I hate celery in all ways.
So somebody, because now you got me thinking, Ben. I mean, we kind of got the savory part of this. I didn't know.
Handy Andy barbecue nachos, bro. Yes.
Somebody give me the sweet part of this. What's sweet now? Obviously the little sausages in the crock pot. Those are always great.
I say cocktail weenies.
Cocktail weenies, yes. Give me the sugar part of this. What's everybody getting sugar wise?
I told you that Fannie Mae's s'mores candies is some of the best candy I ever had. But like we're talking about something you got to make, because I don't want the processed stuff anymore. So after today, I'm done with the processed. Period. I'm not going to eat processed candy. I'm not going to eat processed. Like I want my sweets to be natural, right? So if I'm gonna eat me something, bro, you need to have two things on the table that you can dip in and touch. All right. Number one, pecan pie. Don't even get it twisted. Pecan pie is the greatest dessert ever put on earth. We were given pecan pie so we could thank God every time we touched it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Not that Trent and the Sip. We're with you. The last night to eat crappy until September. I don't know about September, but we've got to detox for.
Where do you see that? Because I'm going to put it on. Yeah, here it is. Yes, this is it. All of us together. All right, we're going in.
We're working together. We're a group.
I'm doing this. I'm going to, for the first time in my life, not eat like a fool for the rest of the year after today. I'm going to eat terrible today. And then tomorrow, dang it, I might do a hard reset, do a 48-hour fast. Old Coupe de Ville. Dude, lemon pepper wings from Coupe was fire. I remember when Eli and them, the Giants, played the Patriots, the undefeated Patriots, in the Super Bowl and won with the David Tyree catch. And it was one of my favorite games of all time, even though I'm a Cowboys fan. But Eli's my favorite football player to ever play. So that was magical. But you know what made it even better? Not just the beer, not just the cookies or the whatever you want. Man, not just the nachos. Them lemon pepper wings from Old Coupe de Ville now.
All right, real quick.
Jones coming back? Which Jones? Chris Jones from Southern? No, he's going to Florida State. Yeah, talking about Andrew Jones, he's out of eligibility. Yeah. Just wanted to touch on that.
Real quick, we'll come back to food in a minute. Someone asked a question a moment ago about Eli. Do you think Eli would be good in the booth?
Oh, I think he'd be great in the booth.
Yeah.
But like for him, you just gotta. Tony Romo is really gotten. He's gotten. Y'all should do 75 hard with me starting tomorrow. I don't know what it is, Chris.
I'm scared to ask what that is.
I don't know what it is. I've tried P90X. I've done Insanity. I've done DDP Yoga. I've done Atkins. I've done Weight Watchers. You know what the bottom line for me is? It's very simple. Gary, eat right and lift weights. Even if that means getting at home. I'm trying to make sure my lazy butt does some push-ups.
Go to Built Different Fitness is getting 2 new customers, I promise.
Oh, we've already talked about it. What was the name of who owns Built Different? Who owns Built Different?
I'll have to get my notes out over there. I'm sorry.
Billy, but like, dude, I saw him. He came to Manning's with us in New Orleans, and I was like, I think his name is Billy. I think he's awesome, dude, and so encouraging. We're so thankful for all our sponsors, man, including Built Different. He's like the Ben. He was trying to give me earnest, real advice, like Ben, like just show up. Get in there, make it a consistent habit. And then I was like, well, see, you lost me because you're telling me to not be consistent. I mean, you're telling me to be consistent. The one thing I hate more than anything is myself. Man. Okay, well, Brad's checking out. He's moving.
No.
Oh, sorry. Oh, took him off for a second. Here, I'm going to take y'all, bring you back. Here we go. Take him off. This is Talk with Champions. We're wrapping up here. If y'all have any questions, hit me up in the chat while we wait for Brad to come back. How about them Ole Miss basketball Rebels? Students are back. Pack the boom for Auburn tomorrow. Absolutely 3 straight wins for Chris Beard and Ole Miss basketball. I'm trying to get Chris on the pod here soon. So yeah, man, they're playing well. I think I wrote about it on the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, that QR code. That is for the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com. If you're a new member, you sign up today, scan that, you sign up, and you will get a 50% off an annual sub as a new member. So make sure to do that. The Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, and affiliate of On 3. And yes, Chris Beard and them are winning, man. And I wrote about it at the Ole Miss Spirit. This is one of his best coaching jobs because this team didn't come together like they expected early on. There were some mitigating circumstances. Elias Carmerdine showing up in August, for example. There's some things that kind of went on that resulted in the slow start. But now they're really starting to come together. They figured some things out. Number one, AJ Storr off the bench has been a master stroke.
Mm-hmm.
by Chris Beard. Patton Pinkins starting in his place. He's now hit 2 game winners in a row. Travis Perry is more of a rotational piece for you. He's a backup point guard, and he can give you some offensive burst spark off the bench. Roles are being defined. The team is being defined. And Chris, who I had not seen, like the most frustrated I've seen Chris Beard in his 3 years at Ole Miss, was in December after a loss, and he interrupted A.J. Storr, who didn't really have anything to say about lack of effort. Only say he just went, "We'll play different players." The players have been the same, but the rotations have not been. And Chris Beard's patience has been something I think is commendable. They're still playing way too many that I think he'd prefer, but he's starting to figure it out because this is who Chris Beard is. The best coach Ole Miss has ever had across any sport, period. The resume speaks for itself. He in the second year at Ole Miss did something that no Ole Miss fan in basketball history ever expected to see again. Go back to the Sweet 16. I think that Chris Beard is doing a bang-up job. I have no idea if they're going to be able to do enough to dig out of the hole that they created, but they did start before this little 3-game winning streak near the 100s in the net. Now they're in the 80s, and you're beating quality teams. Georgia at their place ranked. That's a good Georgia team, one of the best teams in the country as far as pace. Missouri, NCAA tournament hopeful. Mississippi State, as desperate as you were. Right? Yeah, Josh Hubbard, they had to have some fortune at the end of that game. Josh Hubbard missed 2 free throws. But also, let's not take away from the winning plays they made in that game. So you're just starting to see a team finally come together. It's later than they expected, but, man, it's really, really cool to see what they've been able to do. My guy, Dalen, what's up, my guy? He says, hey, looking good as always. Thank you.
What's up, Dalen?
Grandpa Hoppy said he's going to lose 50. I want to get down. Yeah. I weigh 215 pounds right now. I want to get down to 185. What was the LaDamian Washington Rocket ship tweet about the other day? Just all the good news that they were getting and popping off with. That's what that was.
I want to
Dante Cook, I think.
I want to chime in on basketball for a minute. I think the tip in at Georgia, I think that got Ole Miss to the NCAA tournament. I think they're going to make the tournament, man. I think they're playing well right now.
Yeah.
And they've kind of figured some things out. I think Travis Perry's kind of figured some things out. But to me, Patton Pinkins has been the guy that's the straw that stirs the drink. Now, he had his ins and outs against Mississippi State, but when it counted, when the balls were on the table, I mean, he made the shot. And, look, Malik Dia just figures things out. And offensively on the board, offensive rebounding, Ole Miss just, and look, I'm not going to say who it is, but it's someone that covers Mississippi State and someone that I like a lot. They posted that State should have won that game. How? Ole Miss outplayed Mississippi State, top to bottom. And so, people were saying that, Josh Hubbard had a bad game because Chris Beard defended the hell out of Josh Hubbard. Mm-hmm. That's why Josh Hubbard had a bad game. And I thought it was a really good defensive game for the entire team. And I thought the way that Chris Beard, who I also believe is probably tactically the best coach that Ole Miss has ever had, maybe across all sports. I mean, he is phenomenal. And I think you could see the frustration from Chris throughout the year. But to see them come on and play as well as they have over the last couple of weeks, I truly believe we're going to look back at the end of the SEC tournament and say, you know what? That shot against Georgia, that win on the road against Mike White, that was it. And I think Ole Miss is going to make the tournament.
I think they have to get to at least 10 SEC wins.
I think they're going to do that.
Joseph Moore need to finish out 6-6 at least.
Jeffrey said I got a Dilbert haircut.
Oh, that's hilarious. Ben changing all the hot yoga playlists to Project Pat Luda and Mac Miller. Y'all don't want to do this with me. Mac Miller, Pata, Ludacris, Country Black, Lil White, just to get us really fired up to start the day. You know what I mean?
Hey, hit that Jonathan bass. Hit that Jonathan.
Andre 3000 is the greatest lyricist of all time. What?
I don't know what any of that means. Jonathan Bass, hit that comment.
Where's Jonathan Bass? Just subbed. Love y'all. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I thought
hit that next comment on Glenn Wakefield.
That was just kind.
Hit my man Glenn Wakefield.
Oh, what did he say? Take it from a man that owes Coach Beard a lot. That man is one of the best and will make.
Thanks for watching, Glenn. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, my man TIP's back. TIP, he's back, man. He announced that. You don't know what that means either, do you? Yeah.
No idea.
Money,
Mary, we're not going to do it
bars
today.
and clothes. That's how all might roll. Flowing,
There's
growing,
a tear in my beer, for I'm crying, oh my dear.
Thank you to all of our sponsors, Built Different Fitness, Riverland Roofing, B&A Bank, Tannehill Carmen, who is awesome, Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group, College Corner, all of you. Of course, Allen Samuels, Chrysler Dodge, Jeep, Ram of Oxford, Jones Merchant Services, Advanced Payments. Y'all just been so good to us, man. We're getting out of here now.
I want to say thank you to Tyler White and his entire team at T. White's Custom Tees. They've been with me the entire way, and I look forward to seeing what we're doing. I don't know if Sudu's still on here, but we've got a lot of stuff coming, and Sudu's a large part of that. I couldn't do what we do without Sudu and all of his hard work, and you got it, Maddie, and everything that he did helping us over in Glendale, and boy, we've got a lot of fun stuff coming. By the way, I'm going to talk with not Murphy Holloway. I talked to him last night, but
my guy
we're going
Murph.
to talk with Joe Harvell at lunch today, and so that's going to be a live stream. Be sure and follow me at Brad Logan COTE, and that will be live on the Believe in Ole Miss podcast. That'll be shared with our good friends at Talk of Champions, and we're working through all that now, and it's such a great partnership and a great relationship. And so I look forward to everybody jumping on as we talk to Joe Harvell here in just a little bit. I cannot wait to talk to him about the days of playing at Ole Miss. I see him at all the games in Oxford. I saw him at the Tulane game on campus. We'll hit a little bit about Ole Miss football, so look forward to hear from him.
What time tomorrow with Sudu? 10 a.m. I plan to do a show every single day during the week, at least at 10 a.m. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. with Sudu. Brad, hopefully, will be back with me sometime this week. He has
maybe Thursday. Maybe we're kind of looking tentatively Monday, Thursday for me, and then Sudu and then Ben with all of his friends at some point during the week. So,
see, he has another job, like a job that pays the bills. We're thankful for all our sponsors, but like he has an actual other full day. This is all I do, so I can be here every single day, and I will be at 10 a.m. every day during the week. Tomorrow will be Sudu and I. Wednesday, probably me and Zach. Thursday, me and Brad, lining up guests. Bradley Sal used to come on Fridays. He's in the middle of a potential move, so like he's been pretty caught up. That's the only reason he hasn't been around. God is good all the time, and all the time he is good. Thank you for joining us today, man. Y'all have a good day. This has been Talk of Champions. For Brad, I'm Ben. See you, buddy.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Man, the chat.